Good morning. I'm somewhat better. Well, I'm a lot better. And this is Victoria Pendragon. Welcome to my alternate reality. I want to tell you a story this morning about a very remarkable visit. I was recovered from scleroderma, working at a job I wasn't particularly happy at working at, but which started at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I had my mornings to myself, and it was late in the morning. I was preparing for work, and I was in the shower. My shower was connected to my bedroom, and I was in the shower, and all of a sudden, I felt horrible. Just in a flash, I thought I was going to lose it from every possible part of my body that I could lose something from, and very dizzy. And I knew I didn't want to fall in the shower, which was one of those bathtub showers. And so I flung myself more or less out of the shower. And it was a tiny bathroom. And so I flung myself right into the bedroom, where I thought, well, I'll get to the bed. I'll lie down. And so I veered off in that general direction and ended up at the foot of the bed, kind of like this against the bed. My bed was on the floor. I'm a floor sitter. I'm a floor sleeper. I like the floor. And there I was. I thought everything was going to come out of me. And all of a sudden, an amazing light appeared just over my right shoulder. And with that, I felt something come and open my chest, rather like you might open a book that opened in the middle, this way. But it only seemed to be on the right side where the light was. As it opened this way, the other side simply opened. My rib cage opened up. And out of my rib cage, out of my chest, came these, well, they looked like animated giant drops of crude oil, slick and black and shiny. They had a direction. They were all headed off that way, which was where the windows to my bedroom were. They were closed, the windows. However, these things, which were pouring out of me, slimed their way across the floor, up the wall, and out the crack of the window, and away. And I watched, I don't know how long, but I would estimate that there were hundreds of those things that came out of me and slimed across the floor and went out the window. And when they had done, I felt my chest closed, and the light was still there. And I said, "Who is this?" And this voice came, a male voice, and it said, "Michael." That's all it said. And I said, "Thank you," because it felt like I should. And it was gone. Now, a week or so later, in the mail, I received a book that I had ordered on a whim, because it was an inexpensive book, and I thought, well, I wonder what that's all about. It was called Depossession. And it was by this society that dealt with depossessions, which I didn't even know what they were. I got the book, and of course this thing was still fresh in my memory. And on page 19 of this book, which turned out to be essentially about remote exorcism, it said, in cases of extreme possession, I guess, I don't remember what the word was exactly, we call on Saint Michael. And my head spun. And I realized that I had been exorcised, that this Saint Michael person had come and opened my chest and made these negative, I would call them negative thought forms. Some people might call them devils, whatever. They went away. And I was astounded. I had ordered this book, not knowing what it was. I had ordered it before the thing happened. And then within a week or so, there was this explanation of what had happened. And I read the book and understood in the reading of it that I was capable of doing that work myself. And so I embarked, in addition to my then hands-on healing practice, this work of remote depossession, which I did for a number of years. And it was not nice work. It's not pretty work. But I did it until I did not feel called to do it anymore. Some years after this occurred, I was reading a book by Dean Koontz, one of his Odd Thomas series, and in the book he described these beings, which he called Bodocs. I believe that's the name. And in his book, these were beings that were drawn to evil, and they were drawn to places where bad things were going to happen. And his description of them, right down to the part where they went out through the little crack in the window, is exactly what I had experienced. Now, I don't know where he got that information, if it simply came to him. I mean, writing comes to you when you're doing that kind of work, it seems to me, from the ethers. You're inspired. So, and people often get the same ideas at the same time. I neglected to see when he had written the book. In retrospect, I should have been curious. But they show up in a couple of his Odd Thomas books. And I wrote to him, but of course he's practically incorporated or something. I got some standardized letter back, thank you for your letter, blah, 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 blah. We don't really read them, we just open them and get your address and throw them away. And so I don't know. I have no idea. I did what I could to find out, but I have no idea exactly. And some years even past that, I was having regular sessions with a wonderful acupuncturist, and she decided that I needed an exorcism. I said, I've had one. And I told her about it. She said, well, I just have the feeling that we need to do this again. And curiously, when she did it, it turned out to be not like any other she had done. She said that there were things that left me, but they were white. They were like just white entities, the little things that left. And there were many of them. And I suspect somehow perhaps the energetic shadows of the beings that had left earlier. If anybody needed an exorcism, I'm sure I did. The events of my youth were fairly horrifying and involved many, many not so good people. And I know that I was carrying all that. I'm pretty convinced that the scleroderma was a result of carrying all those negative things inside me. And we all have different degrees of sensitivity, of course. Some people can carry an awful lot without being affected by it. Other people can't. Other people can be affected by the smallest things. We are, some of us, far more sensitive than others. I apparently not that sensitive. So the whole event was interesting in the way that it unfolded over the years in my connection with it, in my understanding of it. I wish I knew more, and perhaps someday I will. Life is still unfolding. So be open to what life can bring you. It can bring you some pretty amazing stuff.